when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about this Alabama versus Georgia game where Trump received roarous applause. Now, we're not going to get too deep into the results of the game, but let's just say that it was to be expected because this is normally how things tend to go when Alabama faces off against Georgia. It just is what it is. I think the record is like 10-2 or something like that. Or 8-2, I think. It's something like really bad for Georgia. But in any case, Trump received roarous applause. Meanwhile, Tim Walz got hilariously booed. I'm going to show you Trump's applause first because we want to get into more about why Tim Walz is getting booed later on in this video. Take a look.
Meanwhile.
Bitch out of here! Get that bitch out of here! Get out of here! Oh yeah! Trump 2024, baby!
Trump is the people's president, guys. It's not looking good for the tyrannical left because they've made some horrendous mistakes lately. I'm going to let Scott Jennings start off a roast here because it's what everybody thinks about Mr. Spirit Hands, Tim Walz, Mr. Energy. Like, this dude has got something weird about him. Like, his marbles, he's missing a few. You know, we're missing the last piece of the puzzle or maybe a couple pieces in his elevator. Doesn't quite go up to the top floor. Take a look.
Be consequential. Second of all, Walz is a buffoon. I'm sorry. This guy, he's the only school teacher in America who brags that none of his students can get into an Ivy League school. He's had one consequential press interaction with our Dana Bash, who asked him about the fabrications in his own resume, and his answer was essentially, me no understand words good. I mean, he's a buffoon. He's on a free ride for running under Harris. He gets.
I always thought that was weird too. Like, why the hell would you brag about your kids not being able to get into Harvard? I guess you try to play it off like saying, well, they don't want to go to Harvard and be an elite. Meanwhile, you got a bunch of elites like Michelle Obama supporting Kamala Harris, not to mention Barack Obama, two people that went to Ivy League schools, among many others who went to Ivy League schools who are supporting this current presidential candidate fake behind Kamala Harris. And let's not forget that Tim Walz is a teacher. How in the world are you going to say, oh, I get my grammar wrong if you're a teacher, especially a young elementary type school teacher, any type of grade school? Like, bruh, that's what you're supposed to be good at, is basics of spelling and grammar, at least on a level to where you don't intentionally misspeak multiple times in front of your voters who you want to support you.
The idea that you said that you were in war. Yeah. Did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But
now, this is all after Kamala Harris made a horrendous mistake, and she's made several. I'd say, in my view, the Democrats have screwed up tremendously this entire season by having the open border, by screwing up the economy, by that horrendous Afghanistan withdrawal, by allowing Joe Biden to be president to begin with, then having Kamala Harris as his VP, getting stuck with Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee because they wanted to carry over the fundraising and didn't want a backlash from people who are dumb enough to believe that she's black, being angered and infuriated when they pass over her and go towards somebody like Shapiro or Newsom or somebody else. So they got stuck with Kamala. That it's like so many mistakes. Tim Walz as the vice presidential nominee, horrendous mistake. This guy has so much dirt on him. It's freaking ridiculous. I cannot wait till this debate next week. I'm going to live stream that debate, so be sure to tune in for that. But there's so many mistakes that are made here, and to really put the nail in Kamala's coffin, this dummy idiot is trying to market herself as being tough on border security and blame Trump for the border. And I just don't think people are buying what she's selling. And Scott calls her out about this as well, especially after this new data was released, and it is horrendous for her.
There'll be no love for me or Republicans for Kamala Harris today. In fact, I think the Trump campaign line today ought to be arsonist returns to scene of crime. I mean, look at the last 3.5 years. We've got the border has effectively been open, people flowing across. ICE today released information that there are 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 non-citizens convicted of some kind of sexual crime who are in the country right now. Only because we're in the shadow of an election is Kamala Harris trying to rush and pay some lip service to this issue as a tactical matter. Anderson, I don't think Harris should be trying to elevate this issue because this is the best ground from which Donald Trump has to fight. So, no, I think the Harris campaign is making a tactical mistake, and I think they have very little to say that the American people are going to buy on this today. Anderson, it's worse than that. It's not that it took them too long. It's that they actively worked to undo everything Donald Trump had done during his time in office. On the first day, they rescinded all of Donald Trump's border executive orders. The floodgates opened. All these people come rushing across. Then it becomes a political problem. And now at the end of the election, they want to blame it on Donald Trump. For her entire career, she has wanted a more permissive immigration structure. When she ran for president before, she wanted to decriminalize border crossings. In her heart of hearts, she wants a more liberal, permissive immigration structure. And in his heart of hearts, Donald Trump wants to crack down on the border. That's why when you look at the CNN polling this week, Trump is far more trusted on immigration than Harris. That is not going to change because of this visit today or anything she says today. The die is cast on this issue. If I were her, I'd want to bury this issue, not make it more prominent. But hey, if she wants to have border events, I think Republicans will rejoice because it'll increase the prominence of this issue for the last month of the campaign.
Not looking good for Kamala Harris. Joe Biden gave a big old FU. He threw up 2 middle fingers. I'm not going to do it because YouTube, they have sensors. They can detect everything. But Joe Biden really did put up his 2 middle fingers at the Democrats, Kamala Harris, everybody for basically removing him for a position that he's worked his entire life for. I mean, I don't think that he was a particularly good guy, but it is still kind of messed up what they did at the end of the day. And Kamala Harris, in my view, is being handed an almost impossible position on top of already being not the most competent person in general. Like, she's a dodo brain, dumb, slow, stupid, and she's already on top of having personal handicaps, being handed like an open borders drama, being handed a horrendous economy, like so many different things that she's got to deal with on top of her already lackluster self, always laughing and cackling about everything self. Now she's had to like tone it down and get all super serious. I'm serious, Kamala, now. We're going to get things done. We're going to help the America. Like, nobody's buying it, Kamala. Nobody believes it. That's why they out here booing Tampon Tim, Mr. Tampons in the boys' bathroom. You know, the left try to spin it so disingenuously. Oh, he wants, like, they're demonizing him for giving people who need tampons what they need. Like, ain't nobody saying, like, people who need tampons is girls and women, young teenagers and grown adult women, not a bunch of little boys. Not no boy who thinks they a girl. No girl who thinks they a boy. You go to the girls' bathroom, god dang it. That's why they booing Tampon Tim. They're booing him because of having Minneapolis get burned down for supporting crazy COVID lockdowns, stuff like that. He deserves to get booed for being a weirdo, Mr. Spearfit. Nobody likes this dude. This was a horrible decision, and this was Kamala's decision. You guys know that, like, there might have been people who advised her, but I do think at the end of the day, she picked wrong. These people probably didn't know because their head is so far up their own asses. They probably didn't even know that Tim Walz was this bad. But they effed around and found out. It seems to me like the crowds, a lot of these people are young. It seems to me like a lot of Gen Zers supporting Teflon Don. And if that's the case, then go ahead and pack it in, because this election is over. Be sure to get out and vote. Prove me right about this, guys. Can't let Trump down. We can't let the country down. Can't let these radical leftists win. But I tell you right now, it's definitely looking good because of all of these stupid behind dumb mistakes that the leftists have made. I really appreciate this gift, Kamala. Thanks for visiting the border finally, so we could expose you even more. You god dang fool. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Tampon Tim, Tampon.
There's something weird with that guy. He's a weird guy. JD is not weird. He's a solid rock. I happen to be a very solid rock. But he is a weird guy. He walks on the stage. There's something wrong with that guy.